Happy Families books, hoping to work through over the next little while. They're by Alan Allberg. And then if you notice, each one has got a different illustrator. So, Mrs Wobble the waitress is Janet and his wife Alan Allberg. No, Alan and his wife Janet Allberg. And then some of them are Alan Allberg and this Stutz person, I think, is the one who does the funny bones illustrations, you know, with the skeletons. And yeah, you'll notice the different styles of them and the different illustrators as we go. Right, I've got my whiteboard and pen ready to illustrate those new words that we're going to collect as we go. And if you want to do yours on a paper with a pencil, your illustrations, that'd be great, and I'd love to see them at the end in the comments underneath. Or you can put the new words in a sentence in the comments underneath. Right, away we go. Right, here's the front cover. What can we infer from this? We've got a dog looking messy, jelly and a teapot balanced precariously on some letters. Mrs Wobble, presumably, wobbling. Her tray looks like she's dropping the plates, which her son is catching, and her daughter looks like she's catching strawberries with roller skates on. They look fairly capable. The mum doesn't look so capable. Right, and the date here, we've got, can you see it was first written, can you see there, 1980. So even though it was reprinted in 2017, the original date here is, how many years ago is that? Okay, you can see the cherries wobbling, the chips. See Mrs Wobble treading on somebody's tail. Is that dog down there? So apart from the dog's owner, they don't look too fed up, the customers. But I think her time is maybe limited. Mrs Wobble was a waitress. She liked her work. The customers liked her. The only trouble was she wobbled. One day, Mrs Wobble wobbled with a bowl of soup. The soup landed on a customer's dog. Mrs Wobble got told off. There he is, there's our dog from the front. The next day, Mrs Wobble wobbled with a roast chicken. The roast chicken landed on a customer's head. Mrs Wobble got told off again. I love that her hat suits that chicken so well. Oh dear, you can see the jelly here sitting on somebody's head who looks very formally dressed. I suspect, yeah, it's the manager look. The next day, Mrs Wobble wobbled with a plate of jelly. The jelly landed on the manager's head. Mrs Wobble got the sack. Do you know what got the sack means? As in lost her job. And you see how manager is in italics there, is in that kind of leaning font. So that's for emphasis. So the jelly landed on the manager's head. Why would it have to be his head? Mrs Wobble went home to her family. Mr Wobble cooked her tea. The children tried to cheer her up. Cheer up, Ma, they said. You'll find another job in another cafe. I've got the sack. All looking thoroughly miserable. I want to know what the husband's job is. He looks very smartly dressed there. But there were no other cafes. That was the only one in the town. Mrs Wobble knew this. There are no other cafes, she said, and she began to cry. The children did not like to see their mother cry. It made them cry. It made their father cry too. Then Mr Wobble had an idea. I know what we can do, he said. We can open a cafe of our own. Okay, all their tears are wiped away with the joy of this suggestion. Where? Said Mrs Wobble. Where? Said Miss Wobble. Where? Said Master Wobble. Here, said Mr Wobble. We can turn the house into a cafe. Do you see how cafe has got that acute little accent, French accent on the E, turning it from cafe into cafe, because it's a word that we got from French. Okay, here they all are. It looks so old-fashioned, doesn't it? I don't know what that decor is. 1960s, 1950s? The next day, the Wobble family turned their house into a cafe. They cleaned and painted. They moved the chairs and tables around. They changed the curtains. Mr Wobble went shopping. He bought meat and vegetables, fruit and fish, cheese and chicken, flour and a few other things. Yeah, one of those things is the cash point. Not even my bike basket's that overflowing. I love these shops. We've got the grocers. In the old days, they used different shops for different foods. So this would be the greengrocers. You can see they sold there fruit and veg. Confectionery, can you deduce what that is? See in the window it says chocolate and sweets. Toys, amusements, games, open. I wonder what they've bought from the toy shop. Oh, look, there we are. They've bought roller skates and a fishing net. Can you see what letter were behind that? On that writing there, the letter behind the sign there. I think it must be G for general store, which looks like it sells pretty much everything you could want. And then, oh look, a nice bakery. Keep still. How do you spell sausage? You can see them busy preparing. In the evening, Mrs Wobble made waiter's clothes for her children and a cook's hat for her husband. I'm thinking if she's that good at whizzing up clothes, why doesn't she change job and actually go into being a seamstress instead of a waitress? You can see there, menu. Do you know these words? Soups, meat and veg, pies, fish, puddings. So that's all like desserty, sweet treats. Jellies. You see those in the egg cup? I think they're little individual jellies. Fruit cake, sponge cake. Pots of tea. That's what I'd go for. Doesn't that look cosy? Their cafe in the night terrace of houses. That row of houses is called a terrace. The children went to bed. Mr. and Mrs. Wobble stepped outside. They looked at their new cafe. It's the big day tomorrow, Mr. Wobble said. We're going to make our fortunes. Yes, said Mrs. Wobble. The only trouble is, what if I wobble? Okay, prediction moment. Do you think she is going to wobble next day? I think she is, because nothing's really changed apart from her losing her job and having a good idea. Right, let's see. The next day, the children woke up early. It's the big day today, Ma, Master Wobble said. He gave his mother a cup of tea in bed. Maybe you did that for Mother's Day the other day. Miss Wobble gave her father a cup of tea in bed. Actually, I'm not sure. They look a bit young to be handling kettles and carrying boiling water around the house. Oh well. We are going to make our fortunes today, Pa, she said. It's the big day today. We're going to make our fortunes. Glad the children are confident. After breakfast, Mr. Wobble began cooking. Look, can you see his ingredients? Can you work out what he's making? Eggs and flour. Is that bread, do you think, or cookies? Looks like it's got sultanas in. Mrs. Wobble and Miss Wobble laid the tables. Look, here's a new word for us. There's knives and forks and spoons. And you see the basket there? Cutlery. And do you know how to lay a table with the knife on the right and the fork on the left? The spoon across the top? Master Wobble went round the town with a sandwich board. There he is. It's like he's the meat inside the sandwich. It's like those two bits of wood are the slices of bread and he's the sandwich inside it. There used to be a really common way to spread news. The first customers arrived. Oh dear, said Mrs. Wobble. What if I... Mrs. Wobble wobbled with a bowl of soup. Help, said the customer. Miss Wobble skated to the rescue. She caught the soup in another bowl. That's clever, the customer said. Mrs. Wobble wobbled with a roast chicken. Wow, said the customer. Master Wobble skated to the rescue. He caught the roast chicken in a net. Hooray, the customer said. Then all the other customers cheered. Hooray, hooray. This is more fun than a circus, they said. Hooray, bravo, hooray, hooray. There's the front cover picture. What fun. That night, Mrs. Wobble counted the money. It looks like a fortune to us, Ma, the children said. Mr. Wobble gave them a hug. And we owe it all to the famous juggling waiters, he said. Do you know juggling? When you've got the balls in the air and you're keeping them up and not dropping them? I guess they've been juggling with soup and chicken. The next day there was a big crowd in the street. The people had come from miles around to see the famous juggling waiters. That looks like a lot of potential customers. Not sure they'll all fit with their bikes and their prams in the front room. The children peeped out. "There's a big crowd in the street, Ma," they said. "Yes," said Mrs Wobble, and she began to laugh. "Now the only trouble is, what if I don't wobble?" The end. So yeah, if she doesn't wobble, presumably the reason they all came to see the circus, it wouldn't work. Do you think she will? Okay, pens at the ready. It's time to collect and illustrate our new words, our new vocabulary. I reckon lots of you will find cutlery is a new word. Do you see when they were laying the table with the knives and forks and spoons? I'm not quite sure how to draw spoons here. Spoons, how do they go? Kind of big at one end. That's oh no. So knives, forks and spoons, cutlery. So I don't know if you're ever unloading your dishwasher and you get that basket out that's got the cutlery in. And that's my favourite job of unloading the dishwasher, is to start with the cutlery. The knives, forks and spoons. I suppose cut, like you cut your food with it. Okay, can you see here? I've got the sack. So Mrs Wobble, trailing her apron, sadly, is walking away because she's lost your job. There's the manager banishing her. She's lost her job. She's got the sack. Okay, capable. I'm thinking, here's a mum and she's got her saucepan on the boil. She's cooking with her foot. She's stopping the cat getting to the something that's just fallen on the floor. Meanwhile, with her other foot, she's doing something useful. And then in her arm, she's got her phone in her hand because she's managing to have a call at the moment. She's on hold. There we are. There's some music, hold music coming out. So she's capable. She's not getting stressed. She's doing about 4 different jobs at once. She's capable. So I think you are capable of doing some fantastic work. So far, okay. That's cutlery, got the sack, capable, and now precariously. Do you remember on the front cover we said the jelly and the teapot and the cake stand are balanced precariously on those letters. They could fall off any minute. If you think anything on Mrs Wobble's tray is precarious. Precarious. So precariously balanced. Can you see that? Okay, yeah. E-O-U-S. Precariously. Okay, so right now my iPad is precariously, not too precariously, Mrs Alfred, but kind of precariously balanced on a big pile of books and drums to put it on the right angle for you to see. Should we draw maybe a tightrope walker coming along with his arms out? Whoa, walking precariously. And down there is a big drop to the water below. Don't fall down. They're precariously balanced. So balanced precariously on this very thin tightrope here. Okay, precariously. Yay, let's do confectionery. On. Oh no, is it A-R-Y or E-R-Y? Confection. Let me just check. There we are. Confectionery, like stationery that you have nice pens and envelopes. So confectionery. So we've got stripy little boiled sweets maybe, and chocolate. Yes, please, with a swirl on top. And you know those kind of candy canes that lots of people have at Christmas? Those kind of red stripy ones. Confectionery. Is it just sweets? Does it include chocolates as well? Let's see if we can draw a nice bar of chocolate here. With all its sections in an array. Nice for times tables there. Okay, confectionery. And then this is one of those sparkly ones that just makes your mouth water looking at it. Confectionery. Okay, what's next? We have a closer look at the Greengrocer. Do you remember where they buy their fruit and veg? What have we got? That's definitely leeks, potatoes. Do you think carrots, lemons, cauliflower? Is that flowers? How nice. Bananas, satsumas and... do you think Granny Smiths? Those kind of crunchy green apples you buy at the market. Okay, do you remember on this page we had all those houses joined together in a row? That's called terrace. Terraced housing, a terrace. So how can we explain that through a picture? Terrace. My house is a terraced house, a terrace house. So I guess we just draw lots of houses in a row with their roofs joined together. There's a lovely bit in a Narnia book where they go up into the attic between these houses and they build a den. I think it's Magician's Nephew. So here's all our houses, and it's a terrace, or they are terraced houses is the adjective. They are all joined together in a row. There's lots of them, and they haven't got any space to get round the side. If you want to get in the garden, you have to go a completely different way. You can't go through between them. Okay, do you remember on this page we had all those houses joined together in a row? That's called terrace. Terraced housing, a terrace. So how can we explain that through a picture? Terrace. My house is a terraced house, a terrace house. So I guess we just draw lots of houses in a row with their roofs joined together. There's a lovely bit in a Narnia book where they go up into the attic between these houses and they build a den. I think it's Magician's Nephew. So here's all our houses, and it's a terrace, or they are terraced houses is the adjective. They are all joined together in a row. There's lots of them, and they haven't got any space to get round the side. If you want to get in the garden, you have to go a completely different way. You can't go through between them. Have a closer look at the Greengrocer. Do you remember where they buy their fruit and veg? What have we got? That's definitely leeks, potatoes, do you think carrots, lemons, cauliflower? Is that flowers? How nice. Bananas, satsumas and... do you think Granny Smiths? Those kind of crunchy green apples you buy at the market. So our words today that we've collected: cutlery, got the sack, capable, confectionery, terrace and greengrocer, with all those fruit and veg that they sell. You don't reckon you can do all of them in one sentence, do you? Maybe see in the comments below if you can, on the seesaw comments that is, see if you can manage to get 2 or 3 or more of them into a sentence. I got the sack from my greengrocer's job on the terrace of houses because I wasn't capable of using the cutlery. So I hope you've enjoyed your first Happy Families, and keep reading and see you next week. Bye.